How do you start conversation when you meet someone for the first time? One of the very first questions that almost every South Korean asks to each other is, "How old are you?" Because in South Korea, it is important to know the age of someone if you want to build up a relationship. Then why the age is so important? Let's figure it out. First, let's start with the way how we calculate our age. In common way, your age is simply the time that you actually lived your life after your mother gave birth to you. In this way, you get 1 year old on your birthday. This is also the way how we count the age in South Korea by the law. But in actual life, we count it in a little different way, as the way known as the Korean age. So, in Korean age, you are already 1 year old baby right after your birth. And the most important part is, every South Korean people kind of assume that they get 1 more year old on every New Year's Day, on every January 1st. Let's say you were born in December 31st, 2021. Welcome to the world. On the next day, you are 1 day old baby, but somehow in South Korea, you are 2 years old. I know, right? It is kind of weird. The origin of the way how we calculate the age goes back long ago when people didn't know the concept of the number 0. Before ancient Indian people invent 0, it was only possible way to start from 1. And also when there was no calendar, it was hard to know the exact date. Technically, there was no date at all. It was just another day in a season that comes back every year. We can simply know what number of summer passed, and that was the way we count the year. Actually, this was the normal way to count years in East Asia. But as the Western culture spread on Asian countries, it has been changed into common international way, as now we all know. Now, South Korea is probably one of the rare countries where people are still using it as a common way. There are few reasons why we are still keeping it. But the main reason is the way we address people in South Korea, which is based on the age. And this will be the answer to our very first question. Why the age is so important in relationship in Korean culture. In many different cultures, people address the others by their name, or by the relationship between them, or even by their jobs, such as detective or doctor. But in South Korean culture, the most simple way to address the other is decided by their age. If you are one of the K-pop fans, you know the word oppa and 언니, which means older brother and older sister. If you are younger than the other, it can be rude to call them as their name. In a relatively hierarchical society like South Korea, it is very important to know how old the other people, to set up the social status between them when they meet and knowing each other. In this kind of society, it is easy to make a group of people by their birth year to label them as the same age. Some people say we count the age from 1, not 0, because we respect the life of the baby even from when they are still in mother's womb. But it is skeptic opinion because in Asian culture, abortion was not a huge sin. It is rather related to the Abrahamic religions. If it is that much complicated, why don't change the way to address people and start to call their name no matter how old they are? Well, it is all traditional, stick to the bottom of our culture. It always takes a lot of time to change the paradigm of people. So next time you meet a South Korean, don't just ask their age. Ask their birth date and year as well, and maybe it'll be easier way to start a conversation and become a friend.